What is up, you beautiful peeps? Welcome back to the channel. Today we, of course, have Nadeshot finally responding to the $100 million xQc deal, and also some very interesting information on the Kick platform versus Mixer and their overall business model, where he even says there's no real business there. Of course, he says it in a nicer fashion than that and has a bit more of an explanation, but certainly interesting as we head into these big streamer deals that are only being signed to Kick. And he makes a great point in saying that there is really no competition right now on streaming platforms. Twitch is not signing big deals. YouTube is not signing big deals. We believe those might be a thing of the past. There is no rival in Mixer popping up. The only platform really paying the big money right now seems to be Kick, of course, with xQc and other signings around it.
The internet. xQc, $100 million, dude. $100 million from Kick. Non-exclusive. Let me reiterate that part. Non-exclusive.
That doesn't make sense to me.
All right.
I don't think it matters. But backtracking off that, wild deal. More than LeBron. 2-year, $97.2 million deal with the Lakers. xQc, 2 years, $100 mil.
Listen, there's a lot of opinions, like we said, that are circulating, especially Twitter right now. I saw a clip of like Hassan and Pokimane, and I'm going to get into that. But with xQc specifically, I want it to be abundantly clear. I'm fucking stoked for him. I've never had a bad interaction with him. If this headline is true, more power to you, brother. I tip the cap. Kick, obviously, has been making a lot of noise over the last couple months. Got people like Aiden Ross. Amaranth was announced after xQc's deal. You got a lot of, I would say, if you looked at Mixer with Shroud and Ninja and who they were at the time, family friendly. Shroud is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, FPS streamer. But in general, is just like a pretty sweet guy. They both don't take a lot of risks when it comes to their opinions or their stances on pop culture drama. I would say like xQc and Amaranth and Aiden Ross and all these guys that have been in the conversation at Kick are on the opposite side of the spectrum, in my opinion, of what Mixer was looking for with Shroud and Ninja.
And along with that point, he just says that there's no real business there. Of course, we know that Kick is owned by Stake. We do believe that, evidently that's a marketing strategy to get people to go back to Stake. We've had that debate back and forth, okay? It's all over this channel. I'm not going to try and deep dive it right now. And there's been a lot of evidence that, yes, when you go to Kick, there's going to be gambling promoted. Ultimately, that is what Stake probably wants. Now, Kick would argue that it is going to rely ultimately on advertisers and not, direct or indirect influencing of gambling, and those two sides can go back and forth all they want. Nadeshot says that with these big streamer signings, it's hard to make sense of it, right? There's no real business there, but at the end of the day, he's still happy for xQc.
100%.
And here's the kicker for me, which pun intended, unintended, but it works. Mixer paid $40 million, around there, approximately, allegedly, $40 million for both Shroud and Ninja, and then a year later, they shut down the entire website. Microsoft goes through this entire hassle of acquiring Mixer, pays these guys, on top of a few others, a fuck ton of money, and then they just pull the cord. They shut it down completely.
Mm-hmm.
So with all that in mind, especially with the macroeconomic climate, we obviously did some layoffs back in December. Esports is pretty siloed off in comparison to creator economy, I would say. But in general, marketing budgets have been slashed from like Fortune 50, Fortune 500 companies. People just aren't spending a lot of money right now, really hedging their bets for when we'll get out of this and taking their time. Very different from what we saw in the world, in the economy, when Mixer and all this money was flying around. So it is unbelievably peculiar to me, which you said we can't really figure out. But for Kick to sign this man for $100 million, not exclusively, when there's really no platform wars happening anymore. Like Facebook's not writing any checks. YouTube might be writing a couple here or there. Twitch is not coming to the table and being competitive in any way. They pulled back. They're doing 50-50 splits. And on top of that, Kick is 95-5. Like, the economics in comparison to where all the other competitors are really just don't add up for me. And so I'm just trying to figure the whole thing out. We obviously know Kick is funded in some capacity, if not the entirety of Kick, from Stake, which is online crypto gambling. So if they got money to spend and they think it makes sense for their business, I understand. that's their decision to make. But on top of the fact that you've got all this in mind, Kick doesn't really own anything other than Kick, the website and the community and the data that they're bringing in from people signing up.
Yeah.
They use AWS services for their streaming and hosting. There's just really not a real business there. So it's just insane to me that they're spending as much as they are. But if they can justify it, then dude, xQc, get the bag, baby.
100%. Like we talked about.
And if you guys want to check out on this channel, I gave my best take or my whole take on the Hassan and Pokey versus xQc drama or back and forth. But I guess I might as well reiterate until we just beat that dead horse. You have people like Kick CEO Eddie, who we've also interviewed, and xQc, who seem determined to say the future of the Kick platform does not need to directly influence gambling or directly promote places like Stake to actually be sustainable. They'll rely on being a streaming competitor to Twitch based off advertisements and whatever way they can try and make money, despite having a 95-5 split with subs and donations, an incredibly high split that a lot of people question how that is possibly sustainable. And then you have vice versa. You have Hassan and Pokimane saying, how is that possible? How can you possibly maintain a streaming platform competitor to Twitch in Kick and somehow make money when even Twitch is not making money with taking more splits than other platforms, having increased monetization, increased ads? I mean, even Twitch is struggling to make money. So their question being, how can Kick do it without the help of gambling funds? I think both sides make legitimate points, and we just can't see the future far enough ahead to see what side is telling the truth. And I think regardless of all that, there is some benefit to the overall gaming and streaming space. I think Nadeshot maybe alludes to this too. When you see xQc making these headlines and comparisons to the contract of LeBron James, it does legitimize the streaming and gaming space a bit more. Of course, you know, devil's advocate, it brings in a heated debate of gambling and crypto and all this other junk with it. But at the end of the day, it's very interesting because this move, like Nate also says, is the opposite of what Mixer was really trying to do. Now, Mixer didn't last long enough for us to see the full fruition product before the plug was pulled, but you bring in people like Ninja and Shroud. You have the big signings. That is the ultimate goal of these big signings, to make a big splash. Instead of all the micro signings you could have done with the same amount of money, you bring in family-friendly streamers, Ninja and Shroud. Now, the big deals are similar to what Kick is doing, but the people they are choosing are far from Ninja and Shroud. You have Aiden and Trainwreck and xQc and Amaranth, and of course there's others that are included in that group that really touch on different areas of the market, I think very smartly. But beyond that, they're not typically family-friendly streamers. They are saying things that are making headlines and drawing viewers over to the platform, and what some people might say is a brand risk is at least attracting attention to the platform in a very different way than Mixer ever could or ever even did. So it's just, I'm just so back and forth on this, guys. What do you think about it, huh? Till next time, take care of yourselves. See you back here sometime soon. Okay, bye.